attention, please. This is your official civil defense broadcaster.
One of the greatest threats would be radioactive fallout.
Uranium fever.
Where fallout is heaviest, it can even kill those who have not taken proper shelter.
This episode of the Fallout Hub is brought to you by Nuka-Cola. Try their new multi-flavor variety pack and urinate in 8 different festive shades.
Tom? Tom!
Oh, hey guys.
Oh!
Tommy.
Oh, the lights are so bright out here.
Is quarantine lifted yet?
I can come out?
Yeah, I hermetically sealed the door. There's some crazy coronavirus stuff going on out there. I've sealed us in.
Okay.
It seems like right now this may be the best place to be.
Yeah, I would say a hermetically sealed vault is a good place to be.
So, what are you guys even talking about? I've been, like, in solitary confinement, getting over this flu for, like, the last week and a half. What is going on?
So, Mr. Bigglesworth, which in your absence, we've named him formally thanks to the community, had you sedated for a little while after Boston for some curious illness. He wanted to make sure that you weren't contagious.
Okay, so, but why are we? I get that part. Why are we keeping ourselves in the vault? Because of coronas?
Yes,
beer? Is there a beer problem?
The population has contracted a virus, not the corona beer, but the coronavirus, as it's called COVID-19.
Oh, so we're safer in here then. So we shouldn't let anybody in. We should just stay in here for a while.
Oh yeah.
This is just like, remember 28 Days Later?
Huh?
Yeah, this is kind of like that, except you woke up, you're not in a hospital, you're in this really sketchy underground place, and Dave and I are here. So
okay. All right, well,
but out there, don't open that door. It's kind of.
All right, so it's all bad out there, but we're safe in here. Okay.
Yep.
You know what this kind of confirms to me is that, okay, so Tim Kaine built this vault, right?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And he's not here, right?
Uh-huh.
Right.
So that means he's built another vault.
Oh, he's got a secret second vault?
Because he would have to come here. Like, that, if he had the resources, he would come here.
Or he's a zombie because you guys just told me zombies are out there.
Is there a possibility that he simply abandoned it because, parts of it are collapsing and it's probably not structurally sound?
No, he wouldn't. Nah.
Also, Mr. Bigglesworth sometimes gives me the hairy eyeball when he waves his arms around. I'm concerned.
Eyeball.
I'm concerned. He's got those big. I think one of these days his combat inhibitor is going to kick off, and then we're going to be in trouble.
What if he's spying on us? What if Tim Kaine is using Bigglesworth to spy on us?
He's just laughing at all of our antics.
I think he's shaking his head at all of our antics.
Look at these fools in my vault. Well, hey, while we're stuck in here, why don't we go ahead and record a podcast? What do you think?
No.
No? All right. I'm going to go play another game of chess with Bigglesworth. Then.
Well, on second thought, maybe that's why we should start with that, and then no more. We just stay.
Okay. Well, here we'll just. We were already recording. That's handy. Did you guys not turn off the recording? Do we have just like a week's worth of recording going on here?
So here's the thing. I was in charge of the situation, and it was an emergency protocol, and I had to do what was necessary.
And that was leave the recording running?
Yeah.
Dave did a passable job in your absence.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks, Dave. All right. Well, now that we're already recording, hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Fallout Hub. I'm your host, Mr. Robots, back from the dead, it seems. And thanks for joining us. And as usual, as you've heard, we've got Ken and Dave, my two cohorts in the acquisition of this vault. Did we just kind of... We're squatters, aren't we? We just kind of squatted on this vault.
We're raiders.
Especially
We're raiders. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. And at the beginning of this episode, I just want to say thanks to all of our new listeners. We've got so many new listeners, and we really appreciate that you guys are tuning in. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. And if you're interested in helping expand the show, please share it with a friend or drop a review on whatever platform you're listening to this on. That's always helpful as well. So thank you to everybody for tuning in. So I'm your host, Mr. Robots, and this week we're going to be diving into some news from Bethesda.
Telegram, news from Bethesda.
Good morning, gentlemen. This week we have some fantastic news here from the Charleston Herald. Some of it's fantastic. The other is a little bit strange. Most of this is recorded from the Inside the Vault. I took two of the major items from that, and then I kind of want to go over the community calendar a little bit. So the first thing we have is Strangler Heart, the power armor that you won from Vault 97, 79.
Makes you look like a walking plant.
Yes, it does. Unless you have the... Unless you have I have a pair, and I changed it to there's some like power armor cosmetic modification because I didn't like the looking like I was
a plant.
Robot plant man. I'm not sure what kind of strange sci-fi hero that would be most like, but anywho, first of all, with the Strangler Heart, I keep on saying Stranger's Heart.
The Stranger's Heart.
The Stranger's Heart.
The mysterious stranger armor.
All right, so first, the acid damage applied by players' attacks will no longer stack multiple times on the same enemy. Instead, only one stack of acid damage from an attack will affect an enemy at a given time. Next, they're reducing the duration of damage over time effect applied by acid from attacks, but also increasing its total damage to compensate. Finally, enemies will still be affected by the armor's area of effect damage, but we're decreasing the size of that area by about 25%.
This seems like very, very specific changes for an armor set that very few people probably actually have.
Yeah, maybe on other platforms, but so here's my perspective, because I had my ear to the ground, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about this later, but this particular armor was duped to high heaven on PC and sold monetarily online as well. So even people who didn't go through the hassle of the Vault Raid, like me, who still would really love the armor because it's probably one of the coolest armors in the game as far as an armor that has an offensive capability that does damage. People are running around with these a lot, and the major issue with them is their ability to glitch graphics processors. The damage multiplier, especially the queen fight, makes it almost impossible to participate in a queen fight if you have particular chipsets that can't handle the mathematics of that cell when the acid damage is on the queen and everybody's kind of there. So this nerf to the Strangler Heart is to try and fix that particular issue.
The issue, so I have mine because Jeremy from the last episode on my birthday, he was like, hey, happy birthday, do you want a free pair of Strangler Heart power armor?
Oh, I'm jealous.
So that was very exciting, and he just was like, here you go.
What a good dude.
I know. So
I like
so
that you
nice.
call it. I like that you call it a pair of armor.
Yeah, it's a pair.
Like it's pants.
Earlier before Dave said, I have a pair, and I'm like, well, good for you, buddy.
Yeah, I was thinking you were talking about something else, and then I was like, oh, you're talking about the armor.
Dave has spent a lot of time in Fight Club. I have a pair.
Who's got a pair? You're next.
This guy does.
So I've been using it a good deal because I run one of my builds is the power armor running build, and it's like, frankly, that set as it stands right now makes power armor extremely viable against other like like all of the legendary under armors, or I guess regular armors that the characters have, because of the acid damage stack effect. Because that means that if you have you can stack it multiple times on the same thing, and then if you're delivering separate shots, so if you're using like a shotgun, or you're using like a Fletch's harpoon that separates the harpoon bolt out several times, then you're like doing this enormous amount of damage. So you essentially poison everything in the background, which is kind of comparable to like a bloody build in that aspect, just from the sheer amount of damage that you do. So for example, I can use Strangler Heart against the Scorched Queen, and I managed to, with this power armor, and I had a Gatling ultrasight gun, take her down solo. So with these changes, it makes it more weak, it seems, just because of the stacking. The stacking is really the thing that took it over the edge, but it won't be so weak that it's pointless. It seems like that it'll still have good benefits, and will still probably remain as the best power armor in the game if you can get it modded up correctly.
Very cool. Yeah, I don't have a set of this yet. Because I didn't play Into the Dupers, and I didn't go through the quest, and Jeremy didn't give me one because I don't play on PS4.
Well, when's your birthday?
It's in May. It's coming up.
Well, I don't play on PC, so I can't help you. That's sorry.
Son of a gun. All right. Well, if anyone wants to give me a present for my birthday,
that's a great idea for a present. One of the other presents that we have coming to us in Wastelanders are farming improvements. So they're adding farmable tiles to the game. So farmable tiles are a new option when building that will let you place fertile soil wherever you can construct a floor or foundation in your camp. In addition to planting outside your home, you will also be able to reduce your carbon footprint by planting crops indoors or even on your roof.
I like this. I really like this addition.
A lot of people have been asking for these. It'll really allow you to have indoor gardens, or even fix issues where you can't effectively build nice flat gardens on unstable terrain.
I just want to put plants all over my house and then have like a house plant. A plant house. House plant? Plant house.
Plant house. A green lodge. So since this is our last episode before Wastelanders releases, we're going to do an episode after that, obviously. But before release, I kind of wanted to go over the community calendar as it stands. So starting March the 19th, which is I guess here pretty soon, to March 23rd, there's a legendary sale at Mama Merg. I love saying her name so much. There's also been these mystery items that have been coming and going. We may be outside of when this episode releases, but as you collect each mystery item, it adds in a cosmetic or a piece of your camp that you can get and look around. Apparently, there's free consumables coming from March 24th to the 31st. There's a few submissions opening for some of the galleries that they have. And then on April the 7th, it looks like that Wastelanders releases.
And it comes to Steam. Yay.
That's true.
So I did a poll just to see like who on my Fallout Lorecast Twitter was either already playing the game and definitely going to play, or going to pick it up because of Wastelanders, or just never going to pick it up. And it was very, very highly skewed. It was something like 90% of them were like, I already own the 76 and I'm definitely going to play Wastelanders. And I was like, well, maybe it's just my audience is skewed towards that. There were only a few people. There was like 3% that were like, yeah, I'm definitely going to buy it now. But it's like, well, okay. Maybe you're not the best audience to have polled for this.
Yeah, if you'd have asked that same poll in like one of the regular Fallout Facebook groups that's more skewed towards some of the original games, it'd be interesting to see what the results of that would be.
Yeah.
And then 95% of the comment feed would be people arguing over if New Vegas was better about Fallout 3.
Oh my God, yes.
We all know Brotherhood of Steel Tactics is the best one.
Oh, God,
that's
I'm
clearly
triggered.
the best one. Yeah, here's the actual stats. 86% have 76 and will play. 0.7% buying 76 now. 4.2% no 76 yet, waiting to see. That's interesting. And then 8.5 are still nope, never going to play 76, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Because that's like saying like, nope, even if it's good, even if it's the best game ever, I'm never going to play it because I hate everything.
In fairness,
it's like,
though,
really?
there's quite a sizable part of the Fallout community collectively that no matter what comes to this game, they've stated quite explicitly that they have no interest in it. Which is
But
weird.
to
That
me,
seems
I mean,
so irrational to me.
I know.
It
As
just
a
seems like
fan
it's like saying like I'm gonna eat this pizza. I go to this pizza place and I'm like, the pizza sucks. And then 2 years from now they redo their recipe and somebody I know goes to the pizza place and they're like, oh my God, that was the best pizza I've ever had. And I'm like, nope, I'm never gonna try that pizza because it sucked 2 years ago. And it's like, well, the whole recipe's different now. You know, like go try the pizza again. You know, just go check it out.
maybe it's a lot like whiskey. Like I have a buddy that can't drink whiskey because he took a shot and accidentally shot it out of his nose and then threw up. And so, I mean, that was like, what, 8 years ago for him, and he hasn't had whiskey since. So, I mean, maybe people played
seems like a
76
really-
and then threw up and then the disc shot out of their nose, you know?
This is a very specific analogy, Dave. Is this coming from a personal experience?
This is a friend of yours?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, it's the co-host of my other podcast, Mystery Time Live. Totally not me.
Oh, okay.
Wait, you're both people on that podcast?
No.
Ooh.
That person, that's gonna be the new mystery. Is Dave really the second person, and he's just doing a voice?
You know, it's interesting on a much serious note. So, my buddy, my buddy that does that podcast, his brother works in the video game industry as an artist, and was friends with artists at Bethesda, and then they ended up naming a location after his last name near Charleston. So if you go to the Burdett House, it is named after his family.
Oh, that's cool.
Little fun fact.
Anybody who is not sure on this game, let me tell you a little bit about what happened last night and the experience that I try to create for our group. I made the mistake of asking the community, I'm going to move a camp, build a camp. What should I build? And the community decided that I should build a general store / strip club. So naturally, I named it
As you do.
the General Whore, with the first two letters missing off store and then kind of replaced with kind of janky other letters. So it read that.
I have a comment. You're a monster and you need to be stopped. Thank you.
Or a genius.
It was actually
Or maybe both.
It was a fantastic evening. The Nuka-Cola door works amazing at creating kind of like a hidden basement area. So I figured out how to make a basement, which is the first time I've ever been able to do that.
Oh, I saw the pictures. I saw the pictures. I remember this now.
Yeah, we had strip club poles and
You were in your underwear dancing on the pole.
Yeah, we had 9 of us that were taking turns dancing. People were showing up at my camp to shop, and then would get lured downstairs and were waving bags of money, and it was just hilarious. So we took the party to other people's camps. We took the protest signs from the game, and we're going around to different people's camps to protest their robots and also do naughty dancing.
Which should always be combined.
We were the true end game, but
Protests would be so much better if there was naughty dancing at them.
we ended up making a lot of new friends. People disrobed and joined us, freeing ourselves from clothing and the rules of society. We did escort the robot in Morgantown on his beat. God, what's the name? Something Heart. Strongheart?
Yeah.
Ironheart?
Braveheart? Ironheart, yeah.
Yeah,
Is it Ironheart? Yeah.
I think so.
Iron Man, the robot.
Yeah, so we escorted him on his merry... It was a fantastic evening.
Sounds stellar.
I don't know if I converted people or maybe just scared people away.
Converted people to nudity?
Right. Well, or sexy dancing during protests. Think about how many more people would join protests if there was sexy dancing.
I did have one last important point. Some information was shared to me last night that I proved. So, available through March 31st is the Spring Camp Bundle. You will want to get this, and I'll explain why. The asbestos tile roof set that comes with that is a very unique set of roofing tiles that takes up 50% less camp budget than any other roofing tiles. So I swapped out my roofing set last night and got back a nice chunk of my camp budget to keep building with. I'm not sure how or why they did that, but it definitely takes up 50% less budget. So get it and build with those. So it's kind of a weird way to get more camp budget. Since,
well, you know why that it's less, right? Because well, no, it's because that roof was made as best as it can be.
It's a good joke.
It's a terrible joke.
That's a good one. All right.
Mr. Bigglesworth, execute Order 67.
No. That's the wrong one. We keep getting the numbers mixed up.
Oh, he's spraying me with malteds.
Oh, God.
That's the wrong.
All right. So speaking of having a fun time, Dave, you had some info on Junkies?
Excuse me, masters. It's time for a little Fallout 101. You might want to share some tips and tricks. Not that I'd want to.
Yes, let's
keep the party going.
Let's keep the party going here. Okay, so a Junkies build. I kind of wanted to hit real quick on this because it's. I don't know if you all would agree, but I think it's like the last build in the mainstream meta that we really haven't covered. Like the true like gaming meta, other than maybe a food build. You know what I mean? Like a soda build.
Food build.
Isn't that a thing, Ken?
Yeah, a soda build, sure. Although I technically think that is just a food build. I know people can spam Nuka-Cola Quantums in PvP and just keep regenerating.
Right, so a Junkies build essentially works if you have the Junkies legendary effect on the weapon. And how you get the Junkies legendary effect is the more withdrawal effects you feel from alcohol, meds, etc., the more addictions you have, the higher damage that the gun puts out. So here's a list of all of the things that you can get addicted to. It's like me reading off all of the terrible substances to put in your body. Except for this one, alcohol, Buff Out, Calmex, Daddy-O, Day Tripper, Fury, Formula P, Med-X, Mentats, Overdrive, Psycho, and X-Cell. So in order to get the full effect, which is 50% more damage on a gun, you need only 5 addictions. After that, the bonuses stop, so you can't get any more bonuses. So you don't get addicted to all the drugs, just get addicted to 5 of them.
You don't need all the drugs. That's a little too much.
You just need 5 life dependencies. So some of the chems have families of addictions, like Buff Out, Psycho, and Mentats. So if you get addicted to Buff Out, you'll also be addicted to Buff Tats. Psycho addiction means you're also addicted to Psychotats, etc. The first part of the word in mixed chem indicates the family, so like Buff, Psycho, etc. So if you have all 5, you'll get a 50% damage increase in your character. The perks that are, I guess, useful with this are Chem Friendly, or it's not Chem Friendly, Chem Fiend, which I believe is 100% more of the benefits of taking drugs and then traveling pharmacy, which reduces the weight of medications and chems that you have on your character. Have you all used or played with a Junkies build at all?
I generally stay away from any, and this works for traditional Fallouts too, any requirement to have to keep using items if I don't have to. Does that make sense?
What about guns? You know, guns, you gotta...
Gun, other than guns and ammo. But like, the idea that like, in order, because what happens is you get used to being at that point where you are doing your max DPS and you're all buffed out, right? Mm-hmm. And then you run out of something and then you're like, crap, now I gotta go find more of that thing. And you just have to, you end up playing the, grocery game of keeping things in stock in order to make sure that you're running at optimum. And anytime you're not at optimum, you feel like you're just not doing enough. You're just not there. So I generally avoid that.
Don't worry about it so much. You need to take.
I think it's my ADD. My like, crap! Now I got to collect more things.
You want to. Everybody's doing it.
What about you, Ken? Are you a purveyor of drugs? A purveyor of drugs.
A purveyor of drugs.
There's a better title for that.
Okay, this is the other reason that I would never be good at PvP. I have difficulty using the quick use wheel, which most people do. For whatever reason, I can't seem to do it. So in the middle of a fight, like I'll stop, open up my Pip-Boy, be casually scrolling through while something is just mauling me, and then I'll click on one too many things. Like instead of just taking a stim pack, before you know it, I'm taking that, and then some Comex, little Psychos, some XL, a couple of Quant, yeah.
And then the party's on.
So, yeah, I just kind of spam stuff recklessly without planning. I've been thinking about doing a Junkies build with Wastelanders. So I got some pretty good drops from Mother and I'm going to use some of that Junkies gear and then try and switch to like a Junkies gun build of some kind.
That's what I'm doing for my commando stealth person. Is I have a Junkies handmade. It's only a 2-star. I think it's might be like 50% VATS increase or something like that. And I've got that. I'm saving it up. With your quick command, a good tip that I have that has been useful to me, if you're playing on a controller, is you can memorize how many steps it takes you to get to things. So if you press up and then right, that will take you to the first item in your wheel, and so on and so forth. So if you know that stim packs are on, let's say at the 90-degree angle, you can do up and then hit right 4 times and then press X or A or whatever. Then you can select it. So I got good at the muscle memory from Fallout 4, where on consoles or on a controller, you're pressing the D-pad to get your quick selects. It's just like you may have to do up and then hit right 7 times to get to the thing you want. But if you've layered them correctly, then it just becomes muscle memory whenever you need it. And you can do it fast, and the game will register it.
Sounds like a good tip.
A little tip. So there are some pros and cons to this build, so I've listed them here. The pro is it has the second highest potential for raw damage dealing next to a bloody build. A bloody build right now is a better build as far as amount of damage output that you're doing. But one of the things, if you are crafting a lot of chems, you get increased benefits and usage of chems. If you don't if you like doing the damage, but you don't like having such low health, this has you can have as much health as you want, unless it affects you're going to have some stat situations, because if you don't take the drugs, then you have a little bit of a stat decrease. And you're able to have more armor than like a Berserker's build. So technically, you do more damage even than a Berserker's build, which is a Berserker's build is when you have no armor whatsoever, so you're running around naked, and you get a damage increase from doing that. Just from having the 5 addictions, you get more of a damage increase from a Junkies build. I like to think of it as, this is like if you wanted to roleplay as the Witcher and be like taking all of these like tonics and like like before a battle, you've got to like pump yourself full of chems that you've crafted and you have, and it's like then you just like bared out on everything, and you run into battle. It's a good alchemy build. It's a good word for it.
Yeah.
There are
On The Witcher, I never created the potions either. At least unless I had to. It was the same thing of like, I don't want to have to do all that other stuff.
Okay, well then clearly you didn't play it the way I played it, Tom.
I'm such a bummer. I'm such a bummer.
I was toxic 90% of that game. Some cons here. So you lose a bunch of special if you don't satiate your addictions. So like you're gonna have to, your special stats will all rearrange. So if you're melee build, this may not be the thing for you because you're gonna get some decreases into your strength. Generally, anyone that's running guns though is fairly good to go. It takes a lot of crafting because you got to craft all the chems. Super Duper and Chemist are your friends when you're doing all this. And then overall, if you're going for high damage, Bloodied is better, like I've said before.
All right. That sounds like I mean, if somebody's into that, that sounds like a cool thing. I'm not into it.
If you're into drugs.
If you're into drugs, I'm not into drugs. But
This is a really surreal conversation.
I mean, if that's your thing, then it seems like a totally cool build to try out. So good luck with that, everybody who's into drugs. Guys, I thought you said you sealed the door.
I hermetically sealed the door to protect us from COVID-19.
Someone give me the respirator, quick.
Did you also physically seal the door? I mean, I don't know what hermeopathy has. What does that even mean?
I used some of those heavy-duty ply Abraxo box. I thought it would be secure.
Oh, yeah, those are pretty thick stuff. Wait. I hear someone coming. Hello?
Oh, hello guys. Hey, I wrote the toilet paper. It's all good. I've saved this.
Oh, it's Vex. Sorry, guys. I forgot.
Hi, guys.
I invited Vex in for a very special discussion today. I should have remembered to leave the door open.
Oh, hey, Vex.
Good. It's all good.
Hey, before you touch anything, this is where we wash our hands. Here you go.
Oh, very important these days. Yeah.
Yeah, and then walk through. You know those the things that you walk through in the game that like remove all the radiation, the decontamination things. Yeah, we crafted one that's just gonna shoot you with a bunch of like. It's not like radiation decontamination, but yeah, we took all of the
Corona decontamination.
Yeah. Just walk through this.
It's Corona beer that we just kind of hooked up with some garden hoses. It's totally legit.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Happily.
All right. Okay, good. Here's some towels. You can dry off.
Cheers. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
So welcome. This is our underground vault. It's
wonderful.
It was Tim Kane's. But
that sounded sarcastic. Oh, wonderful.
Just what I needed. Another vault.
Another vault.
Vaults.
Well, thanks for joining us. Hey, do you mind if we pick your brain a little bit? Since you're kind of... thank you for the toilet paper. Dave, you used the last Dave. Dave likes to make
I got a poopy butt. I got a poopy butt, you know?
Wow, I was going to talk about the little animals that you make out of the toilet paper.
Well, there's a t-shirt in the making. I have a poopy butt.
Poopy butt.
I was being polite. I was going to bring up the poopy butt problem from the other day, but all right.
It's not a problem. It's just a status.
It's like the Parks and Rec. I just keep wiping and wiping. It's like a marker. All right. Well, Vex, thank you for joining us. We always kick this off with a 20 questions, but I've decided that I'm revising this to the Robot's Dozen, which is kind of like a baker's dozen, which would be 13, but it's not 13, it's 11. But because it's Robot's Dozen, we start counting at 0, so it's actually 12. So
okay, I got you.
You got it? All right, so these are just quick like one-off questions, and then you just respond with whatever the first thing that pops in your brain. Cool?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Question 0. What? Oh, okay. Question 0. Sorry, let me start over. Question 0. You can eat one food for the rest of your life, but it contains all the nutrients you need. What is it?
Probably a roast dinner.
All right. Question 1. You're now a dog, but still have a human brain. What do you do when you meet another dog and it tries to sniff your butt?
Sniff its butt, I guess. I mean, you know.
When in Rome.
That is the correct answer. All right. Next question. You can choose one 76 mutation in real life. What do you choose?
Speed demon.
Speed demon.
Oh, that was fast.
That's good.
Next one. Would you rather have a day be 20 hours long or 28 hours long?
28, because then I could be online more.
Ooh, good call.
All right. You discover that your parents are synths. What do you do?
That's a tough question. Gotta get a little bit real here.
gotta get real. Get into the real ones.
I mean, as long as they're not doing any harm, let them live, you know? They've been fairly peaceful, carrying on with their lives.
All right. Do you tell them that you know that they're synths? Or do you just like...
No, I just carry on as normal.
You just let them believe that you think they're real?
As long as all's good, you know? Carry on.
They might think they're real. You never know.
Yeah, I think
that's their problem.
All right. Next one. If 1 is male and 2 is female, what's 5?
Like, I have no idea.
Apache attack helicopter.
Multicolored rectangle, I guess.
That's probably the best answer ever to that question.
From henceforth, I identify only as a multicolored rectangle.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Very nice. All right, next one. Have you ever been to a no pants party?
I haven't. No, not in recent history, anyway.
I was about to say, when I was 2, it was no pants party every day.
Exactly.
All
I
the
mean,
time.
you know.
All right, next one. Ding, ding, ding. You won the grand prize. You get to punch someone in the face with no repercussions. Who do you punch?
Donald Trump.
That one ran through my mind, too.
That was almost as fast as Speed Demon.
Speed Demon. Yeah, it wasn't far off, was it?
All right. What tastes better, raw Mirelurk or raw Gulper?
Probably Mirelurk. They got a bit more meat to them.
Okay.
Like a gamey crab.
We're up to number 9. Who has the best hair?
Who has the best hair? I don't know. Probably me, but you know.
Good one.
Excellent.
Good one. That's the right answer.
A little bit egotistical, but I don't know.
All right. Number 10. We're getting close here. 2 left.
Yeah.
You are now a god. What do you demand your worshippers to chant to you?
That's good. I have
Has
no
to be something
idea.
about your hair.
Yeah, apparently, praise the almighty hair would work.
You're the god of hair.
Vex some hair.
If there's 2 things I want people to take away is that I have a poopy butt and Vex has great hair.
Hey, yeah, it is what it is.
It's the title of this episode.
Do not bring the 2 together.
Yeah, do not mix.
All right, final question. And this is, I'm going to preface this. The question is, would you eat the strawberry? The description is, you meet the absolute perfect person you've ever met, and then the night before your wedding, they tell you that they poop strawberries, and they need you to eat the strawberries in order to keep them alive, and that they are biologically no different than any other strawberries you would ever get from nature.
Where the hell do these questions come from?
Do you eat the strawberry?
If it's not biologically different from nature, then I don't see why not. I mean, just because it's coming out of someone's ass doesn't stop it being a strawberry.
Right. Well, there you go. It's the same as any other strawberry. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations. You passed the goat. And
that was...
Here, I'm putting the number. I'm putting the it's doing the little computing thing. Okay, let's see. You are perfectly suited as a dolphin artist.
A dolphin artist.
That's one of the lesser-known Vaultec certifications. Dolphin
Yeah.
artist.
Yeah.
I'll take it, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
Some
I
would
live
call
in
you a porpy painter.
a porpy painter. I live in Florida, and there's a lot of these like beach areas with all this dolphin art that's like airbrushed art on like shirts and stuff. That seems to be what you're.
Yeah, I got you.
That's
I thought that
you
was
do
Gallagher,
dolphin art.
Tennessee, the airbrush.
Hey, I'll take it. Yeah, it's a job, innit?
Congratulations.
We'll probably see a lot of that in Fallout Miami.
Yeah.
That would be great. All right, so Ken's got some other questions to talk about that are more related to actual Fallout and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, this just to introduce, I invited Vex here today because there's been a lot of changes coming to PvP that I wanted to talk about, partly because the community has been talking about it for quite a while now. And more recently, in an article, Pete Hines had commented that they were surprised, percentage-wise, how much of the community wasn't really interested in PvP based on numbers that they've seen. And I think we all have some opinions on that, which is why I wanted to talk about the state of PvP. Just to introduce Vex a little bit, we actually met, it'll be a year ago next week. Yeah, a year ago next week, that through a mutual friend, the previous group that I had, the Appalachia Trading Company that we started, we had a group that was formed in that company to kind of protect us from griefers back in the day. A lot of the griefers whose names I still won't mention to give them any sort of credit at all, but that we had kind of like a caravan guard that would protect our players from those kind of people. And Vex had joined in with our group at that point. It was way back in the early days of the game when you could still obliterate bases. And for snowflakes like me who just wanted to get my thing down, having a caravan guard was very beneficial. But I'll let Vex introduce himself a little bit and talk about how he got into Fallout.
Yeah, so I actually didn't start playing Fallout until Fallout 4, and as soon as I started playing that, I was like, I adore this game. Like, I played vanilla completely unmodded, unlike most people, and just like farmed the perfect 1-star legendary that I guess you could get from that game, and like built up my build and just built a camp and all the rest of it, and really enjoyed it. I think I have like over 1,000 hours in the game now. Jeez. So yeah, I spent quite a while on that game, and then I heard 76 was coming out, and I was like, oh great, more of the same, because the engine looked similar, and and I enjoyed the PvE in Fallout 4, so I thought, yeah, this is great. It's only like 2 years after the release of Fallout 4, so that was awesome. And then I backtracked a bit before the release and played New Vegas for a while, and that was good fun.
I did the same, yeah.
Yeah, and I adored the Fallout New Vegas DLCs. They are stunning, and went back to 76, and I started doing a lot of Queens at the start of my Fallout 76 career. I decided I wasn't getting any rewards from it because the drops are so incredibly low to get a decent 3-star, and then started farming the White Spring and West Tech.
Those were the days.
Same results. So I thought I'll trade and do PvP, and now we're here.
That's actually something we've never talked before. I didn't know that that you didn't come to the game originally looking for PvP. You just kind of went in that direction when there wasn't a lot left to do to challenge you.
Yeah, I'd done everything I thought I could do PvE side, so I went to PvP.
Before Fallout 76, did you play any PvP games before that were online?
So I played a bit of Overwatch and League of Legends at different states in time. League mainly while I was in college, and then Overwatch slightly after, but they're so different that I didn't really classify them as the same style of PvP. I never did PUBG, I never did Siege or anything like that, or anything along those lines, or Scum or anything. I just started enjoying PvP and Fallout.
It's interesting because a lot of people paint PvPers with the same kind of brush and just assume that everyone came from Call of Duty or Fortnite or some of these other games, and that's clearly not the case.
No.
What?
I don't think so. Anyway.
What? I'm going to take you back to when the game was first launched, and I want to play a segment right now that came from the original launch trailer that explained how interactions with other players will go.
When you emerge from the comfort and safety of your vault, the world you know will have changed. Take your friendly old neighbor Johnny. Rather than coming over to borrow a cup of sugar, he may now be coming over for murder. Worse still, he may not be alone. In this instance, your current defensive implement will not be enough to do the job. The time has come to seek out greater means of protection. Nuclear armaments. With the power of the atom at your fingertips, be responsible and consider your target carefully. Will your bomb land on a rival camp of degenerates? A random stranger? The local wildlife? The choice is yours.
So in that clip, it talked a little bit at launch about how initially interactions with other players could go one of two ways. Either it would be a friendly interaction where you had the ability to make a friend or, possibly trade gear, or, they could be coming over for murder. What was your understanding based on PvP, based on how Bethesda originally kind of promised the experience?
Okay, so in all fairness, I didn't pay a huge amount of attention to PvP when the game first came out. It didn't really sort of become an aspect until later on.
Right.
But when the game was first talked about, if I remember correctly, they said you could nuke someone's camp and then you would be able to place your camp where theirs was, which I thought was pretty awesome because it meant changing the landscape in a way that's completely different,
right.
Which you don't see a lot in many games at all.
No.
And then, with or like base destruction, and then someone would move, and then you could put your camp there, which would be, really cool. But it didn't actually happen in games, I'd say. So,
how do you feel that since you've been PvPing, how has that changed since you started?
It's a lot tougher to find a fight. It's a hell of a lot tougher than it used to be to find someone to fight you. You have to know the tells of the map pretty well, which sounds incredibly stupid. But like, if you look at the map, obviously there are workshops, which are an easy way of getting PvP without a doubt. But you also have a large group of players is quite easy to get PvP out of, because one of them will feel cocky or arrogant and they'll shoot back, and then the entire team will go red, and then you're in for a load of fun.
Right, where if you look at a map and there's like a cluster of players, like a lot of people will hang out at the White Spring Station, or people will set up a base there, and everyone just kind of ends up gravitating to that center point in the map.
Yeah, that White Spring is very commonplace for PvP.
I noticed that.
It's a good,
usually
good hunting ground.
I'm strolling through and I'm like, oh, excuse me, coming through. Meanwhile, everybody's shooting at each other.
Exactly.
What is your definition of griefing? And I'm asking you specifically because I've noticed that this term is really often overused.
It is overused a lot.
Way overused. So what is your definition of griefing?
Okay, so there's quite a few layers to it, but I'll try and explain it how I see it. Basically, if you own a workshop and someone comes and kills you, that's not griefing. That's just you being ignorant.
Right.
To be completely honest, because when you take the workshop, it says something like, this means you're available to be attacked at any time or something. Someone can come take this workshop from you without a doubt. And it will happen. Like, there are multiple groups that raid and do that sort of thing. So I don't consider taking workshops griefing at all. Now, there are a few exploits, I guess, but they're more game mechanics in the game. It's just knowledge that allows you to use them, and you can kill people those ways, which I won't lie and say I don't do. I do them, but at the same time, they're in the game, but they are griefing because you're making someone go into PvP without their consent.
Right, yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that.
However, if you shoot at someone and they shoot back and then you destroy their base, that's not griefing, because they have consented to that PvP and they are reaping the repercussions.
Yeah, like there's, and I agree with you about workshops. people either don't pay attention to or just willfully ignore it. But it can't be any more obvious. As soon as you start taking a warp shop, it warns you, hey, stupid, you're about to trigger PvP. So are you sure you want to do this? And you're like, yeah.
Exactly.
I also found that even in the early days and even now, you can earn so much more junk just by scavving than setting up stuff in a workshop. The rate at which you can collect materials just out in the world without doing a workshop is so much better than trying to take a workshop, unless you want to open yourself up to that.
Yeah, early days, it was like insane the amount of scrap that you could get. Yeah,
they nerfed it, I think.
Right, and then I think within about 2 months it kind of went down. Back in that day, I remember the ammo converting place.
Oh yeah,
was constantly. That was probably some of the best PvP experiences that I've had just natively in that game. Are trying to figuring out that bathroom stalls you can put in front of a door. Those are harder to destroy than actual barricades and walls, and they're easier to place. And locking the doors, if they pick it, then they become active, and then you can place turrets there so that if they lockpick the only door to get in, then they get attacked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, annoyingly, the problem with locking your place up in a workshop is if the PvPer knows what they're doing, they will attack the workshop first, then just destroy the doors which you've locked, which I do all the time, because it's an easy way around. Saves time, and it means you don't get wanted while keeping the opponent / target in the area.
Right.
So, which doesn't give them much space to move. But PvP is all about being on the ball. You have to constantly be looking at the map, players around you, and as weird as it sounds, names as well.
Yeah, I've noticed that, yeah.
If you can pick out someone's name, like XX Edgelord 99 XX, that guy's probably gonna shoot you back.
Oh no, I need to change my name now.
I mean, it's if you can pick out a name out of the blue, which is rare, but sometimes you can take someone's workshop while they're outside of it, and they will come because you've realised they have an edgy or drastically overcompensating name.
It's like the Fallout 76 equivalent of driving
69.
driving a really awesome sports car.
It's like driving a Dodge or something.
Yeah. It's like you're compensating for something, buddy. You named yourself.
Yeah, it's silly, but it's weirdly psychological. And don't even get me started on the PvP community. That's another beast.
Oh yeah, there are. I talk about the definition of griefing because again that term is overused, but there are instances. I had to deal with a situation that I would definitely classify as griefing several months ago when I was dealing with one particular person who. It's not a matter of claiming workshops, which I never do. It's being targeted personally and then followed server to server. That person constantly and then not just keeping it in game, but also bringing it out of the game, like sending you that is toxicity.
100% griefing.
Yes,
without a doubt.
That I would classify very differently than a game that's designed for and was intended to have PvP more of an aspect of the game than it has been. You talked a little bit earlier about how important being aware is and having all of that. I think Dave probably does PvP more than even Tom or I ever do, but as someone like me or Tom who's maybe more into PvE than PvP, it seems kind of difficult to get into without just being turned into a green smear on the ground. So if we were starting or anybody wanted to take PvP seriously, how would you start them?
Okay, first thing I would do is tell them to go to someone who knows PvP. I mean, that would be the best case scenario. Ask them or tell them the sort of build you enjoy, because enjoyment is the most important part of the game above anything else as far as I'm concerned. It's all about enjoying yourself. So say, hey look, I enjoy this build, but I want to move it towards a PvP aspect. Can you help me out? Then, I mean, some perk cards are just required for PvP. There's no movement in that point, but a lot of them are variable. So you go with pet cards, then you get your armor sorted out, and last but not least is weapons, because weapons are a dime a dozen, especially on the PC market at the moment. So,
oh yeah, at this point, I mean, everything's been duped to high heaven, so you can get pretty much anything for real money.
Exactly. So I wouldn't spend real money at all. I personally never have on this game, but like, I'd make sure you enjoy what you're doing before you spend any money, like, because you don't want to buy all this cool shit and then you not enjoy it, you know? I've actually seen that happen to a few people now that I think about it.
I have to, yeah. Or just, yeah. Because perk cards that you mentioned, it's interesting you said weapons last. What do you think are the most important perk cards to really have for PvP beyond just kind of ones catered towards specific builds?
Okay, I'm gonna have to log into the game to actually check what I'm running. So give me 2 seconds.
We are getting super meta.
Yeah, we are getting a bit meta, because there are some that are like 100% required and others that are less so. I mean, it's very opinion based, because people run completely different things. Like, at the moment we're doing, the current meta is Junkies and Bloodied. That is the 2 standalone strongest builds, because you only do 110 damage a hit in PvP, and most people don't have above like 350 health or so, you know.
Yeah, I going into this, because there's a lot that I don't know about PvP, I was curious to see how other people in the community felt about the current state of it, and I put questions out there on Reddit and social media and Twitter, and got back almost 700 really well thought out responses, which was just kind of insane.
So people are interested. That shows that people are interested.
I really think it is, and towards the end I can talk a little bit about some of their thoughts that you'd probably agree with, but talking about damage cap, that specifically is one of the things that was like number 3 on the list of the most commonalities of things that people were complaining about, was the damage cap decreasing to, I think, 110 it's at now. Yeah, 110 a shot, yeah. Which in one fell swoop kind of screwed up a lot of people's builds and made them kind of useless. So that kind of broke PvP. And then survival mode, I think the damage cap was 190, I think it was.
For a time, I think so.
So all of those kind of changes ended up kind of messing up the PvP experience.
Yeah, survival was without the damage cap, and when you got double caps for killing someone and all their aid, if I remember correctly, and all their junk as well.
That's what I enjoyed it the most, I know, was when they had that survival.
People about that over the past few weeks. That is when everybody enjoyed it about the most. Like, without a doubt. Once they started nerfing, like, certain parts of it, and then, like, later on, I believe they nerfed Teslas as well, which is a good thing, because they are still very strong.
They're way overpowered. Even in Nuclear Winter, the few times that I played that with a mutual friend, as soon as one of us got a Tesla, it was kind of game over. You could pretty much clean up the map.
Yeah, it's insane. If I had it my way, I'd get rid of Teslas entirely, and I'd slightly change how stealth boys work. But you know, that's my opinion.
Those stealth boy Tesla builds.
Yeah, they're not as bad as they used to be, because there are other worse builds in. Again, not worse as in they don't work, worse as in they're more toxic sort of builds, but like, you have Strangler and 50 on PC, you know what I mean by the 50 cal. And there are a few other weapons of that sort that just need to be getting rid of from the game completely before PvP is reasonable for a beginner to get into, in my opinion. Because it's just so horrible to start off with.
Yeah.
So you're depending a lot on your gear. In some cases, your aid's super important in PvP. And yeah.
What? Speaking of aid, what the hell is a food build?
Oh yeah. Okay. So, first of all, a food build is a target. The easiest because they will normally wear excavator. Or maybe XO1 with like a few mods, but normally excavator. They'll carry around like a hammer or a skating swing speed +1 strength, something like that. To basically go around kill ghouls in Whitespring. Now they'll normally have the perk cards of like I don't know, all the carry weight perks, so like the junk weight reduction, aid weight, weapon weight, so on and so forth. It goes on and on. Insane. And they're getting no actual damage from it, which means that they're not optimizing themselves at all. They're just going around lightly whack, basically. So, you know, not the most useful member of the team, in my opinion.
No.
I'm looking up, you mentioned stealth boys and Tesla rifles, like a build built around that. And I'm like inundated now with information. And I found that there's a change.org petition to change stealth boys in Fallout 76 PvP. 10 people have signed it.
We should put the link out there.
Wow.
Yeah, we should.
Could you imagine? That's at change.org. I'll be damned.
Okay, so you mentioned perk cards earlier that I think are completely current PvP. Adamantium Skeleton and Fireproof are 100% necessary, and Endurance. Maxed out, that is. Lone Wanderer. That's not super necessary. Oh, and then Class Freak and Start Streams. All of those are just for PvP. Otherwise, you know, you're screwed, basically.
Am I breaking up at all? Or is it?
No, I think we're good.
You're fine. You're fine, Ken.
That's where my audio was cutting out. Can you guys hear Vex, or is his audio cutting out?
He cut out a few times on the perk cards. So maybe try to read through them again, just to double check.
Oh, okay, I thought it was me. Did we lose you?
Hello?
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Oh, you'd cut out there. That's what it was. Could you read through the perk cards again? Because you'd got cut off there.
Yeah, so, I was saying that, Adamantium Skeleton are super important, as well as and Star Streams. And then the rest entirely depends on your build. So,
what for gear? Well, I imagine it's pretty dependent on build. But right now, as far as the current meta goes, what are the most common gear items that people should come equipped with for armor?
You want heavy leather. As much heavy leather as you can get your hands on.
Heavy leather, really?
Yeah, heavy leather above all else. Preferably Assassin AP Refresh Sentinel heavy leather. So that you can you'll take less damage from enemies. Dodgy will refresh bar will be like a secondary health bar to you almost. But if you're a rifleman build, it'll also mean that you can stay in VATS for longer. And then Sentinel is fairly obvious, although you don't want to be standing around doing nothing, because you'll get VATS'd in the head and die if you're just standing there.
How has people who don't really understand the difference between Cavalier and Sentinel, as far as God tier gear, people try and gravitate towards those. What's kind of the key difference between the two?
Okay, so we were talking about original gameplay earlier on, like survival. Original Sentinel used to work where if you had a full set and you were just standing still, you would take no damage, none at all, not even a tiny bit, unless someone VATS critted you in the way to get through the Sentinel buff, I guess. And then Cavalier is the same, but running. So a lot of melee builds would use it, punch them or smash them with your hammer, and they'd fall down because unarmed used to be really strong a while back. But that was the idea of original Sentinel and Cavaliers.
It should be pretty much invulnerable.
Now, 5% chance. It's kind of similar, but it's less likely to work out. I definitely wouldn't suggest standing around in PvP, because you will get killed.
Oh yeah. What about mutations? What are some of the mutations that you think are super beneficial? Marsupial obviously being a good one to keep bouncing around.
Marsupial's good. You want to get grounded and scaly skin, because hold on, let me just check. Yeah, you get energy resist again, and mixed with the leather gear is really important at the moment against a lot of PvPers, because they will whip out their legacy laser rifle, just blast you to bits. So, you know,
those damn legacy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so common these days. Like, everyone has a legacy weapon.
Yeah. Especially a PC, they're kind of everywhere.
They really are. It's despicable, but it is what it is.
What particular build are you running?
I'm Junkies Auto Stim, which is like so I've got like a little bit of Sentinel, a little bit of Cav, so that I can mix it up a bit. I use the Cav more than the Sentinel.
Do you vary that sometimes depending on if you know you're going up against another PvPer? Do you oftentimes try and figure out what build they have before going into battle, or is it just kind of a think on your feet kind of thing?
Well, you tend to get a setup where your gear doesn't really change, because, like I said, finding to get these days. I mean, admittedly, there is, you know, buying stuff online, and if you know dupers, you might have a chance of getting them. But even then, they're a dime a dozen. You know, sorry, not a dime a dozen. They're quite any means. I mean, you'd be have better luck with a heavy combat set or something like that.
Yep.
Which is more like a general set, which I think with these sort of PvP conditions, but I think leather is definitely best. But you don't want to try and change out your actual gear often. You want to have like a set you're happy with, that you know you're fairly survivable.
And then you get to know its nuances, if anything else.
Yeah, exactly. The weaknesses and strengths. So with your build.
How do you normally set up PvP, or what is your kind of loop that you do?
So I will, if I'm are you going into a workshop or just in general?
Oh, just in general.
Okay, so I carry around a Junkies Fire Rate 25. That's cost happen, and the arms on my gear stabilize. Plus, I believe I have a stabilized aligned stock or something like that, so it shoots almost dead on, which helps when I can't get people within VATS range, because I am a VATS build. But if you can shoot someone at the right opportunity, you can force them in, and then you can just take advantage from that. And then on top of that, I'll carry a quad fire rate Tesla with reload, because the weakest point of a Tesla is the giving the opponent an opportunity to fire at you.
What a lot of people with Teslas specifically say don't shoot at the person, shoot at the ground. What is that about?
Okay, so because they arc, they arc to players, so, or to anything for that matter, as long as it's it will arc automatically. So there's no point in shooting at them, because it may not hit. If you shoot the floor, then it will definitely hit them, and you're guaranteeing a kill.
It's like the blast radius around like a rocket launcher, except it automatically arcs, so you know you're going to hit something if you aim at the ground.
Yeah, 100%. It's a horrible build, but you need one to counter some. You're screwed. It's a backup, and then I've got a few different legacy lasers as well.
Like the meta's changed quite a bit in the beginning. What are some weapons that were really good that just aren't anymore?
The TSE combat shotgun stands out a mile above anything else.
That was my first build, and that character's useless now. It runs the Fight Club because I can't do anything else with it.
I mourn that gun every day. Every day I think about it.
I mourn it as well, man. I miss that gun so much.
I mean, it was fun, and for the most part, because I was useless with it, I would end up blowing up myself most of the time. If something got too close at me, it was game over.
Yep, I did exactly the same as well. I remember running through the early, not soon after release, and you get out your combat shotgun and you shoot your way through a silo, and then you come across a corner, you'd shoot yourself again, and then you'd have to start the whole silo again because you just killed yourself, not the enemies.
Yeah, that was me 100 times over.
Yeah, I did it a whole bunch as well. I missed that gun at its peak, like back when the Queen had different stats. I don't remember what they were, but you would be able to like 3 or 4 shot the Queen without any difficulties, and you know.
Yeah, there was somebody in our group in the early days that had some kind of way powered Queen melee build, and we would all tag it, and he would kill her with like one hit, and he wasn't a hacker or anything. I don't know what build that was, but before they changed her stats, he could just decimate her.
I think it's just the way the Queen was back then. She was really, really weak, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's always been strong, and it still is strong. It's just it's not fit for PvP at the moment.
What are some of the meta games that PvPers play against each other?
You're cutting out a little bit. I can't quite hear you.
Oh, what are some of the meta games that PvPers play with each other?
What do you mean by meta games? Like, what do we do to annoy each other?
Yeah.
Because if you're a bloodied build, there's obviously one of the in-game mechanics I get earlier, where you shoot someone with a dart. I won't say from what gun because I don't want to get him patched. And
Leap.
And you throw a mine at their feet, and they drop dead on the floor a couple of seconds later. That's extremely common. And then obviously you steal their junk. That happens a hell of a lot. Also, if you know, there are, I want to say, 5 extremely common groups of PvPers. Like, there are 5 factions of PvPers. 4 of which will get along really well, and the other one. But, like, if you know a PvPer and you know their name, asking for a friendly match of PvP is quite common, because caps don't, and we normally both the teams just want PvP. So just going into a fight and asking someone to PvP is quite common and normally good fun, even if you know on them, it's still good fun because you can counter it and it's difficult.
So I'm looking over the kind of the idea I had, and I think this is maybe like almost a year ago now. Was that's when bloody builds, I guess, started to become a thing right after the TSEs got their nerf. Is Gamma Gun still a good thing to have if you're coming into PvP, or
it's bloodied players? I died against a Gamma Gun 2 days ago, but I wasn't expecting a Gamma Gun from him, so
I feel like that's the thing about it.
It's like the Spanish Inquisition.
These days, like really, really unusual. But I mean, if you have a Gamma Gun and someone's bloody, then yeah, that's a great way to counter him. That a normal standard Gamma Gun will give you a huge defense. It's just that by itself. I mean, the rounds are a pain to get,
right?
But you know, other than that, go for it.
Yeah, because we were thinking, we were like, okay, so this is useless, really, for most enemies, because super mutants, I mean, don't really hurt it, or are hurt by it, and ghouls are healed by it.
Yeah.
And so and then we thought, well, if they ever had like monster taming, and we had like an army of ghouls, you could just be like a necromancer. Just,
release the Kraken.
Yeah,
exactly.
Shooting gamma rays into ghouls, and
that would be awesome. I'd love that.
Trap bases or no?
What was that, sir?
Trap bases or no?
100% yes. If you're stupid enough for a trap base, then you deserve to die by one.
it's like evolutionary.
Don't care. Yeah, I don't care what level you are. You've got the same brain as the next person. Just be clever. See what could be contained inside, and then go in at your own risk. But yeah, they're getting more and more common these days, thankfully, because it's.
I mean,
trap bases.
We've done some jokes about some, but some of them are really obvious, like just having a lot of confetti on the floor to mask the fact that there's no floor and just a pit lined with punji boards is a pretty easy one.
Yeah.
I've fallen into a few and been preyed to a few, and I never get upset about them. A lot of people complain about them because I have to, and usually I'll talk to the person afterward, because the engineering skill designed to make really good ones is kind of it's awe-inspiring how they've constructed it.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of them have trap bases. I won't say names because I want them to carry on being able to use their trap bases.
Yeah.
But they're really good. One of them, so he's got all his selling things set up around the base of the camp, and as you wander around, as you're trying to get out, you just hit the floor dead, and it's awesome. it really is, it's an experience, and I think it's great.
And you're like, what just happened?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, everyone knows trap bases are a part of this world, and I think they should stay. I 100% think they should stay, because they make the player more aware, and you're not just going, oh, okay, what's going on in this camp? Why is it slightly hidden away? Why is there a bit too many layers? You know, it makes you think.
It also gets you. I mean, this is really a post-apocalyptic simulator. So, strolling around with 300 pounds of junk and wandering into.
I don't care who told you.
Just wandering into someone's house. You're taking a risk.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think it's a good idea to be carrying around any junk, never mind 300 pounds. I mean, 2 days ago, wait, no, maybe a little bit longer than that. Let's say 4 days ago, I got 400 pounds off of some guy.
Oh my god!
Because he just decided to shoot back, and it was lead, steel, you know.
You're like, thank you.
Yeah, a couple of ballistic fiber.
Was his gamer tag Costco?
Sadly, no, but it would have fitted very, very well. He kept me going for a little while longer.
Did you find any toilet paper on him?
Sadly not, but I'm keeping an eye out for that, like, all the time these days.
So now we're getting into a serious topic of where PvP is now. So survival mode was shut down, which almost universally everyone that responded agreed should not have been done. And at some point should have been brought back. And even the reasoning of why that was done may be a little convoluted. What would you do if you could wave a magic wand and Bethesda was listening right now and you could fix PvP in this to fix it so it's properly challenging and fun again? What would you do?
Okay, first of all, get rid of all the hacked shit that's on PC. Just get rid of it all.
100%.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, just get rid of all that. It's not needed. PvP is hard enough for that as is without that stuff. Second of all, Wastelanders is coming out around the corner, right? You would include whatever awards from Wastelanders. Like, I think there's a special kind of coin or something that you can get at some point. And you can pick factions as well. Mm-hmm. So, say you pick a faction, and then you kill someone from the enemy faction, you get a small amount of coins, like endgame coins for killing that person. And, you know, because there are different factions, you can do that. And then you could actually have clan wars on top of that as well. But what I would also suggest is if they took some ideas from WoW, as strange as it sounds, because I played WoW before this game, for a couple of years, and they made guilds, like in-game guilds. There are a lot of Discord guilds, but if you had a way of making like a small sanctuary for your guild members, like an expanded base basically, and then you made those destructible, like completely, whether you were in PvP or not, and then people just went to town on one another, like groups of, like, the server size is 24 at the moment, so like 12v12 server side wars would be amazing.
Yeah, I think even I would enjoy something like that, because it like and this is maybe a missed opportunity, or hopefully now that they're bringing in NPC factions, it gives us the ability to, if you decide to pick a side, like if you identify, even with minor, if you decide to be part of the Mothman faction, that you would have a territory and then a civilization. So you could have your camp wherever, but it'd be cool if you could have like a little house, or like in the original Fallout games where, you know, you get a home inside the settlement, and you know, you associate with that group, so anyone of an opposing group is immediately aggroed towards you, NPC or otherwise. You have to defend the settlement if, you know, there are waves of another faction like attacking, trying to destroy the village. I think that would be absolutely amazing, and it would make the NPC factions have meaning, and your choices in terms of who you align with have meaning. Kind of a cool way.
Yeah, I think you could bring a lot, like what you suggested is a brilliant way of doing it. In fact, I can think of a few ways they could do it that like would work within the engine, but you'd have to make the rewards half decent as well. Because as fun as killing players is, you also need a reward system. So, like I said, the coins would be one way, or you know, I mean, 50 caps for killing a level 400 is a bit poor in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you know, back when it used to be you killed the player from their level, I thought that still holds today. That would work. It would make PvP rough, and less people, I mean, more people would do it because there's more of a reward, and you'd say, oh look, I'm level 50, 60, this player's level 348 or whatever. That's, you know, a ton of caps for free if I can kill them.
Yeah, like in the early days, I remember you'd see wanted people on the map. It wouldn't be 5, 10, or 15 caps. It would be a ridiculous amount of, like, a cap bounty on them.
And then everyone would go after it.
Like, I remember there was even an article, I can't remember the name. If I can find it, I'll link it in the notes. But
wasn't there a group on Xbox or PlayStation called, I forget the name.
This one character, this one guy set up, like, he had a ridiculously high bounty and became kind of an end game boss and was challenging people to come find him, which I thought was kind of an amazing way of the game evolving. So you're not just going after the queen, you have this like mega PvP god to try and challenge yourself against. It's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, that was back when Cavalier and Sentinel worked properly, which is why I was able to get away with what he did. But nowadays it's a lot harder to do that sort of thing. But the name of some PvPers, especially on PC, I don't know how it is on other consoles, but like, I will go into Discords that I've just joined, and I will have 3 people in that Discord either leaving because of it, leaving because I joined, or asking the owner to kick me out because I've joined. And this has happened on the last 3 Discords I've consecutively joined in a row.
I've had a few people ask me that. I'm like, yeah, I like him.
Yeah, it's silly. But it makes sense as well. A raider should have a name for himself and should be known, because that's the way it works.
Right.
Because, you know, you have different clans in Fallout 4 and big bosses in Fallout 4 and so on, so why shouldn't it be the same here?
Back in the day, I ran I guess a faction around the online component from Metal Gear Solid, and the idea was that if everyone disarmed all of the nuclear weapons, which were a thing that everybody could put at your bases across all of the servers, so like everyone had to have a nuclear weapon at some point, and you had to go through, infiltrate their base, and disarm it, then they would get this secret cutscene. So I was in a group that was like a response to another group who was like, oh, we're gonna band together and we're gonna do this, and I was like, yeah, we're just gonna build nuclear weapons and try to bait people.
Yes, exactly, that's perfect. Yeah
So I understand, and we love that. Like, it's almost like this WWE, like professional wrestling, like heel mentality. Like, kind of enjoy being the heel of the scenario. Like, you enjoy being the villain because you're almost like you're playing your own game from that perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've won the game, so you're playing the game of the game, if that makes sense, as weird as it sounds.
Right.
And also, the game hasn't really given people the ability to role play as a raider per se in really any other way.
No, it hasn't given us any other options, so that's why a lot of us end up, I mean, we are arseholes, we're raiders, instead of, you know, going around killing the queen. But it's a different playstyle, which a lot of people enjoy. I mean, there are 100+ people that enjoy raiding, like in this, like on the US/EU side that I know very well.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping, from my perspective, that explosive weapons are going to take up, at some point in balancing, they're going to have to up like the damage that like a fat man does. So I've been hoarding mini
Fat
nukes.
Mans will never be viable.
I'm hoarding mini nukes in the hopes of just not for killing other players, but just for completely decimating workshops and leaving.
Oh, yes. See, even decimating workshops, they're not very good. Even player camps, because, so I had a talk about months ago. The way a mini nuke launches is that all the damage goes to the top of the cloud instead of the bottom area.
What?
What?
Yeah,
that doesn't.
That's crazy.
So instead, the bottom sort of 2/3 of your, like, I don't know what it's called, circumference of the dome is actually on the top third. I.e., if you shot someone while they were jumping, that would be when you got the most damage out of a mini nuke. But the bottom 2/2 of it is like not a lot of damage, which is why when a Care Bear / Food Build gets out a mini nuke and you think they're gonna, like, they can't kill you with that weapon. The fire rate isn't fast enough, the damage does not matter, and all the damage is at the top third anyway.
Well, look
and
at
as
it.
long as you stay on the ground, you're fine.
If they pull out that orbital strike, though, you better watch out.
At the orbital strike, you can just soak in that stuff. You can enjoy the heat. You know, it's sad, but missile launchers and mini nukes are so dead.
And it's weird because those, even in the game itself, should be far more powerful than they are.
Yeah, they should be rarer, and far more powerful.
Right, and they were when they were affected by the. So I'm pretty sure that heavy weapons, at one point very early on, was an effect that increased the heavy weapons perk, expert, master, that increased that damage, and then on top of the demolition expert perk being so high, because it was like 100%, I'm pretty sure back
yeah,
when.
it was, yeah.
It made them viable, but I mean that lasted a month. Like that was the first thing that they changed, really.
Yeah, they got rid of the I believe that was the same time as the two-shot, because TSC combat shotguns, which we talked about and adored earlier, were such a huge thing that they had to nerf them to extreme measures.
I love how there was the mythical time before, and there's the now that we live in.
These kids today will never understand the joy of grinding brain.
Yeah, I wish I'd destroyed so many more camps. That's what I'm saying.
Press F for Vex destroying camps.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I've destroyed a couple of camps in the last few days, so I'm happy. I'm excited. But
I've destroyed a few. A few common complaints that some of the most common things are people complaining. So unbalanced was number one. That was the most common complaint.
Go on. Sorry, go on.
Oh, not rewarding, meaning the risk versus reward isn't really there. Thirdly, of course, was everyone saying survival mode should be back, that they enjoyed it, that they didn't understand why it went away. The one commonality on that particular thing is people stopped playing survival mode when survival mode became nerfed. It seemed like a lot of people swapped over from adventure mode into survival mode to get the extra XP or the bonuses. And
I forgot about the double XP as well.
Yeah, right. Because I guess they were complaining about the experience and putting in tickets and everything else. It seemed like people who were complaining about PvP and survival mode are the reasons that a lot of it was adjusted. And I'm just assuming because we were never really given a clear answer as to why things in survival mode were changed, but it seemed like the first version of it everyone seemed to enjoy, beyond making sure not to go near a train station where people were camping to pick you up and you materialize.
I mean, don't be an idiot, basically.
Right. Yeah.
But what if I had a suggestion? I would say bring back survival mode. Bring in the current meta, without the hacked weapons and the third-party bullshit that's going on right now.
Yeah.
Take that out, bring survival back at the game in the current state without all that stuff. With the 110 damage cap, because people have got used to the 110. Like, builds work well around the 110 damage cap now, because everyone's had time to mellow out and work out the best builds in each scenario that they're trying to work with. And bring it back how like it is, but make sure that the rewards are good, i.e. you get double XP while in there, like they originally had. You get double the amount of caps for killing someone, because then low levels either have to start a new character or risk a whole lot. And make sure all junk and aid is dropped, like original survival, because killing a hardcore PvPer, if they have a ton of quantums and super stims and, you know, ballistic bok and all that sort of stuff on them, is really hard. But if you got a kill on them, they would drop so much aid. Like, Jesus Christ, so much aid. It'd be insane. You could
like, it's the reward for going up against that person and kind of conquering. If there's no fun reward like that, I mean, why would you get excited to do it beyond just doing it to do it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would say do OG survival, keep the 110 damage cap, and see what happens. I think you get a lot of people interested in it.
I think that as far as what Bethesda's game plan is, which I'm not sure when it comes to the full rebalancing. Well, it's kind of crazy to go from level 1 to 10, you're more or less just like trying out a bunch of different weapons, if you've never played the game before, you're just figuring it out. From 10 to 50, you're kind of getting a play style that's more like a classic Fallout, where maybe you're like, okay, I want to sneak and use rifles, or, you know, I want to use melee weapons and run around and hit things. Like, you're kind of getting that idea. But it's crazy to me, this like third tier of builds that have really just originated from the game, and they were, I guess, available somewhat in, like, there were parts and pieces of it in Fallout 4, but really in 76 you get this next level thing to grind for. Like, at level 50 you kind of almost have to change around a few things to be like, okay, I need to move a few special points from here to there or over there. I almost wish that Bethesda would like fully buy in and fully commit and be like, okay, now that you're here, it's like, here's a path for a bloody build, here's a path for a Junkies build, here's a path for this or that, and make it more well known.
I think that would be, I mean, there are a ton of guides online, but I think, like, again, going back to WoW here, because that's where a lot of my a lot of my RNG aspects of learning come from. Like, you had, like, different classes with different variants. If, like, when they hit, let's say 50, because it's a fairly common one and everyone hits it, you get like a pop-up saying, you've now hit level 50, here are a few choices depending on the current meta that are best suited for you. You can either carry on doing whatever the hell you like, or we can recommend a play style for you each level depending on what you pick. And perk cards to go along with it.
I wonder if that was the original intent with the choosing to be a legendary that we never got last year.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what the intent of that was, for you to pick a path once you get to a certain point. If that's what the intent of that was, that would be great, because I think we were all agreeing that would make sense.
I think we'd see a lot more PvP as well.
And they said that in the panel, that they are like, that's still something that they're working. It's not going to be in Wasteland per se, but it's on their radar for something that they want to do.
I think it's quite difficult to do though, because the meta is so variable, and the weapon, like, I don't know how many weapon choices there are in this game of like each individual weapon type and everything, but there must be like a good couple of thousand. So like, you can't suggest weapons easily. You can't suggest armor easily because there are so many different types. And half of the people don't know what you're on about when you start spouting about junkies and bloodied and, you know, the perfect gun and weapon and all that kind of stuff, because they're all food builds and Care Bears who just like enjoy killing the queen and, you know, messing about, which there's nothing wrong with. Like, I have nothing against that, but
that's another T-shirt we need. Food builds and Care Bears.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with, you know, enjoying the game however you want to enjoy it, but I think some people, knowledge is power in this game. Basically, was what I'm trying to say.
I proudly identify as a character, but I also think that people should not try and dictate the experience for the entire community based on how they choose to play.
Exactly.
I think there's far too much of that where people just, in the instance of PvP, because they don't want it or don't have an interest in it, I think it should be taken out of the game completely. When I don't do it, but I disagree that should be across the board.
If you got rid of PvP completely, the game would be a lot more boring, in my opinion. I mean, first of all, I'd stop playing, but I'm saying even
I think a
for
lot of people would. Yeah,
I think even like there would be absolutely no worry about the general world, about dying at all, basically.
All right.
Sorry, go on.
Well, like, you get to a certain point, and for the most part, you can kill pretty much anything that's in the wasteland. So, unless you're going up against someone else, there's no real threat.
Exactly. Yeah.
In the game
it becomes
experience.
a simulator.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Build a house and, you know, sit back and relax, which isn't how a wasteland should be, obviously.
Look, I'll tell you right now, my general club is thriving. Thank you very much.
I imagine it is. I imagine it's absolutely doing stunning. But I think there should be... You shouldn't be able to sit back and relax, just take a workshop. I mean, that's what Private Worlds are for, right?
Right, yeah. Yep.
Just sit back and relax, take a workshop, like, take all the workshops on the map if you want, and then go to your camp and chill out. That's what I consider a Private World is for, or at least that's what I imagine they're used for. I don't own one myself, because I don't see the point. I have all my fun in public servers.
Yeah.
Ken has all his fun in basements of convenience shops.
With all that toilet paper.
How do you... have you played a lot of Nuclear Winter? Do you enjoy it?
I got to like level 50 odd, but I spent most of those like levels just sort of hiding in a bush really well. So, you know, say what you will.
Yes, bush bros for life.
Exactly. You know, I just hid. I think I got so used to seeing second and third when it became just me and the one other person. I just hoped he died in the fire. Like, that was my strat.
I had a few people who just, wherever they would spawn on the map, they'd go like make coffee or, you know, cook up a Pop-Tart or something, and then just leave themselves standing still. And more often than not, just not even doing anything, just leaving the characters there.
Yeah, you did all right.
Yeah, it was kind of impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's a decent... That's kind of why Nuclear Winter doesn't work overly well as a PvP experience, because, you know, there are so many ways around. Like I said, I got second and third so frequently by not even firing a weapon most of the time. Like, so I had a spawn location, I can't remember where. I just go there, pick up some random weapons and stuff, hopefully some wood armor because it blended in with a lot of the brush, and then just crouch. And I think I started replaying The Witcher again at that point. So I was just like, oh, I'll just tab out, play The Witcher, check on it, the fire's getting a little bit close, move in a bit, go back to playing The Witcher, and so on and so forth.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know?
We were joking a little bit before talking about Junkies Build, kind of going through a 101 on that, and I joked, Junkies Build is for fans of The Witcher because you're just taking a bunch of potions and cocktails.
Yeah, definitely. You're just drugging yourself all the way up, getting those dark eyes, and then just going in. And, you know, but the negatives of a Junkies Build they don't matter, because the positives hugely outweigh it.
Yeah, a lot of people too complaining about the one thing that kind of ruins PvP in Nuclear Winter or even in Adventure is the amount of hacking specifically on PC, where you can someone can aimbot you and take all of the challenge out of it, and there's not a lot you can do in that situation.
That's next. I actually before I went to work earlier today, I went to take a workshop from a level 100 odd. Can't remember the guy's name. Went to go and attack him, do what I normally do, got a kill on him. Next thing I know, 3 other people turn up in like a group. He's using what I call magic bullets, which is where you're getting hit even though no bullets are hitting you. And yeah, it's like as soon as I spawned, it's going tunk 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 tunk, and you have a 30-second immunity in PvP, which I think is a reasonable idea. I don't hugely like it, but it's better than dying instantly.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the 30 seconds is over, you just go tunk tunk tunk, and your health is gone, and there's nothing you can do against it. It's depressing.
What kind of witchcraft is that?
It's horrible witchcraft. It's saddening, but that like you have to give up. I mean, you can be cheeky and work out ways to kill them in other ways, but for the most part, it isn't worth even dealing with.
A lot of people who are really into PvP are worried that there's virtually no updates on anything like that coming with Wastelanders, or anything announced about balanced or PvP adjustments post Wastelanders.
Okay,
yeah.
You mentioned balance quite a few times, and you said it was concerns. If you got rid of the hacks and the hacked shit, balance wouldn't be an issue.
I agree with you, yeah.
Yeah, there would be bloodied and junkies builds. It used to be 2-shot and bloodied, but that's since moved over since the damage cap changed. But those are the 2 builds necessary for PvP. You can't decide to carry around all your junk while you're PvP, because that's not a build. That's you giving people your junk.
Right. You're a walking grocery store.
Yeah, exactly. You're just there is a metaphor PvP, and it is reasonably balanced if you take out all the stuff that is just in this game that shouldn't be. So I actually don't think balance is an issue. They're already nerfing the Strangler armor, and
I know.
That stuff is survivable at the moment if you have the right setup. So the fact that they're nerfing it is like, not entirely necessary, but I am pleased because I don't use it and I know people who do. So,
And I know a lot of people complain about it glitching their game out, especially if they're doing it. So it's just kind
yes,
of
you are right
now.
I think that's a conspiracy led by people who don't like power armor. I think it's a disgrace.
Vex has strong feelings about power armor.
Yeah, power armor makes you the biggest target in the world. Like it is. You've increased your size so much. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Especially in PvP. Like, I see so many people. Right, I'll shoot them. To try and initiate some PvP. Normally around the right sprint. Then I'll see them back up, get into this either Exo-1 excavator, or if you're lucky, a Strangler. Get into this gear, then shoot me, and then die instantly, even though they're like halfway down the road, because they're just such a big target. Like, why would you make yourself bigger? You're trying to get smaller.
Well, then they bring out the all rise, and you start sweating.
Oh, then you just jump around them and have fun, man. It's you're making money for free at that point.
You're making money for free.
You're not even, you don't even have to try. As soon as you see an orc, just celebrate and enjoy. Like, that weapon is amazing. I think one of my friends actually has a wall for orcs at the moment.
That's awesome.
Just completely consistent of all rises. it's a wonderful weapon, really.
You talked earlier about when we were talking about what people would do to start, and in our Discord that you're in, the Apocalyptic Aristocracy, one of our friends, the Irish Goodnight, is starting up a Vault-Tec University, and he's going to be teaching some in-game, some real-life classes, as well as some game meta classes. And one of the first classes that we're going to do actually is one with you with PvP. So if people were interested, they could talk to you, get some advice and coaching, and you could kind of work them through becoming a better PvPer.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I think, like, having more people available to PvP, even if they're not on my side, I'm going to plug myself a bit here, the White Spring Raiders side, is still a good thing, because, like I said, representing different clans is great, but like if you can grow your numbers as a Raider clan and be teaching people, like I'm teaching someone at the moment because they were told never to PvP by their peers, and then I went along and killed them, and they were like, look, okay, you just killed me, how do you do that and why you do it? And I'm like, I did it because I wanted your junk and because I like seeing people being salty, which they were. It was great. And then they were like, okay, teach me how to do this, that, and that. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And, you know, I've been helping them out for a few days now, and they are learning well. I mean, they already had good gear, so that helped, but we're still messing around with perk cards and stuff. But I'd love teaching people. I think the more PvP is, the better. And I think, you know, that widens the community, which really needs widening at the moment, because it's just a toxic hell, especially, like I said, on the PvP side.
Very much so. And I think it oftentimes people are polarized by the worst of both sides. You have people on one side that are so against PvP that they shout very loudly and, you know, try and throw light on particular players or groups that PvP as if they're demons, when they're not, you know, hacking or doing anything anywhere near as toxic as the far right side of the equation.
I mean, I can agree more.
Like, and there are some fun, like we just had Jeremy Fight Club 76, and I've done Fight Club. In fact, Vex and I in the ring, I think you killed me.
I can't remember. That's so many.
It was a while ago on, we did Fight Club 76 night, so Vex got in the ring with me and we had a fun little match. But PvP like that can be fun when you have the right mindset, and it's just about having a good time and putting yourself in a fair way.
I wouldn't call that PvP. That's just messing about with mates, you know? Like there's no loss of anything. Everyone's having a good time and no one's being griefed. It's just, you know, that's just having a good time. I wouldn't go as far as calling that PvP. It's just messing around. I mean, it is, but I mean, very loosely.
You're right, it's not, but it was the most exciting PvP I've ever had.
Yeah, it's great fun, and it's something everyone should do to get at least a little taste of PvP.
Yeah.
Because it's awesome, and it's a good introduction as well.
Was there anything else you wanted to say about PvP? I think that was all the questions that
I can't. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. If anyone wants to learn, like I said, I'm more than happy to teach them on PC. I mean, I'll teach you as best I can. I'm not the greatest PvPer in the world. I've never said that I was, but I just think, you know, the more people we have doing it, the larger the community, because PvEers and PvPers are very split at the moment. If we can bridge that gap and make more people understand why we do what we do, then I think it could be a lot less toxic in general, and the community overall would benefit from that.
I would also agree with that, because I think a lot of times when people just cheat and use hacked whatever, it's because invariably, why would you do that unless you simply weren't good with base game mechanics? That you would feel the need to kind of jump straight to the end to kind of just ensure a win by cheating the game engine.
Yeah, I mean, there's a clan which I wouldn't mention because I don't want to give them the gratification.
No, I know.
That does exactly that, and they're hated for it. And in fact, last night they were shown that they were not the greatest clan in the world.
Oh, good.
And now they've got members leaving left, right, centre. So it's all good, which is quite nice. But yeah, I just think if the PvE and the PvP community could understand each other more, then we'd get what we want from Bethesda on both sides, while still being a little bit wary of our surroundings, which I mentioned in the first place.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there, because like you and I have talked, we've played in game together, we've shared a lot of laughs for the last year, and I think people just need to take better time to understand each other. If anything, I think out of all of the PvPers and even raiders that I've ever encountered, the way in which you approach things is kind of almost gentlemanly methodical, because you'll go up to people and you'll just have a conversation as you're killing them. And it's not you're not like shouting or screaming or like obscenities like a 12-year-old.
No, I mean, I actually consider PvP the one of the best ways to meet people, because first of all, you're learning their build, you're learning what they're doing in a typical fighting scenario. And if you just sort of, once they calm down a bit, because a lot of people get mad at first, they actually tend to ask about your build,
right,
and what you're doing, and then you can say, oh, can you teach me this and that, and how can I do what you're doing? How are you surviving this extremely good gun? And I'll say, well, it's not as good as a gun as you think it is, or, you know, something along those lines. So, you know, like PvP is a great way of meeting players. Like, most of the people in the White Spring Raiders I met from PvP, or from other clans that also PvP.
Yeah, and you've got a super tight group.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, every clan has their issues, every Discord has their issues, but like, we're all tight-knit and we have a good time and we do our own thing. Or if one of us is in trouble, like, we can get a rallying group of 4 without any problem, because PvP is hard to come by, so 4v4 is like, hell yeah, let's go boys, sort of scenario. And it's awesome.
And I also think it's interesting, again, because people paint everybody with the same brush. Even knowing that you didn't get into this game looking for PvP, you kind of went in that direction because there wasn't as much of a challenge that you were finding in the game. But more importantly, the fact that you say right out front that you don't consider yourself to be the best PvPer in the world, that you didn't say that, it just is a clear indication that this isn't about ego.
I mean,
it is about.
I like to get my name out there. I'm not going to lie about that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm far from the best PvP. I use VATS way too much, but I have a good time and I have a decent reputation to be going along with, so I'm happy in terms of the game. You know, like, people know me, and I think the other day someone ran away just because I spawned in at the White Spring. So, you know,
right?
They just ran the other direction. So I was like, okay, great, that's that problem sorted. Don't have to do anything there. Let's move along. So, you know, it's a lot of raiders do it to get a reputation in game, and like, going for their ego. Like, and some advice I will give people is, if a raider steals your junk on anywhere, and you're able to talk back in game, do not beg for your stuff back. Yeah. Because you will not get it back,
and
ever.
More importantly, that'll probably go up on YouTube with 89.
Yeah, it will. It will undoubtedly go on YouTube. If you start raging, you can guarantee they're recording it.
Yeah.
Because that is amazing content in every single way. So, yeah, I suggest just being calm, being peaceful. Try talking to them and see if you can just get along, and then go from there, instead of, you know, asking for your shit back. And they might sell it back to you at extortionate prices. I've done that once or twice, but you know, other than that, you're not going to get it back, because it's just not going to happen.
Right.
Why would they give it back? It's in their inventory. It's their junk. So, you know.
But we
that would be my best advice.
So I'll put in the show notes a link to our Discord. So if you're interested in learning about PvP, you can join, and from there we can get you in touch with Vex and get you sorted.
Yeah, and if I think you're okay and cool, then I'll invite you into the White Spring Raiders, and we'll go from there.
Awesome.
And, yeah.
Well, thank you for these cases of toilet paper. This is going to be super helpful. This is the true end game.
Yeah, it really is. All right.
Yeah, well, thanks for popping in.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
thank you. It's nice to finally be able to talk to a group of people about something that they want to learn instead of just, you know, being kicked away for knowing and doing PvP, you know.
Oh, we're gonna kick you. I'm just kidding.
Alright, well, thank you for having me.
I'll walk you to the door.
Alright, cheers.
See you later.
See ya.
Be safe out there. Bye.
And now it's time for the Random Rant, sponsored by Abraxo. When it comes to tough stains such as blood, bodily fluids, or sweet and sour sauce, nothing gets out those stains like Abraxo. Now with 3 times the suds and industrial chemical compounds.
All right, it's time for the Abraxo box, and as I heard it, Ken, you did the last one. You got to stand up on the box. How was that?
I did. It was scary at first.
The problem with it was that once Ken got started, then I felt like I needed my own soapbox for certain things, and that I pulled out 2 soapboxes, and then I stood on them, and then everyone was just way taller than we should be.
All right, you guys mind if I if I give it a try and try to be taller than I should be as well? Hey,
come to our level.
Okay, so I'm pulling the box out right now. These things are really sturdy. I get why we keep standing on them.
It's space age cardboard.
That's amazing. I used to work in cardboard. I used to design box. This thing's nuts. This is like quadruple fluted. Holy crap.
This is like 80 ply.
This is the thickest cardboard I've ever seen. All right, here I'm getting up on top of it. All right, so Dave, you found our rants that I'm gonna read.
Right.
Are you guys ready for this?
Yes.
All right, here we go. let me get in the mood. Here we go. In my mode. All right, ready? Here we go. In the course of my history with Fallout 76, I had 2 colleagues that played. One moved to another country, the other moved on to other games. So, I sure was happy when I saw the new content for the Pioneer Scouts requiring the revival of Teammate, singular. Normally, this challenge is something I wouldn't have a problem with. I could leave that for later, and eventually it would happen. But in order to join the Order of the Goddamn Tadpole, I am forced to do it. So far, my options to complete this arduous task are as follows. 1. I would proceed to race around populated areas and scream, "Kill me, kill me, I want to be a tadpole, goddammit." Not fun in the slightest, by the way. 2, go to third-party sites to find someone who happens to be in the same predicament. I hate doing this in any game. And 3, pray that someone nukes the queen and dies during the event. Usually nobody dies, and rush across radiation, Mirelurk Kings, and the barrage of sonic screams to revive them first. And 4, wait for the damn imposter sheep squatch event, which only seems to happen maybe once an hour. If you market a game that has the option of being played alone, do not make quest requirements for group play. I'm fine with it being hard since I play solo, but don't lock me out of content I'm unable and unwilling to group up. Even if I did, people are just going to jump off a cliff and have someone revive them. It's not a hard task, just a big ol' fuck you to solo players. Me. How was
wow.
I'm annoyed at you. I like
that's a
just
good
that
annoying voice.
That's a great annoying voice.
I felt like you were channeling a little bit of Brian there.
There was a little bit of Brian. It was kind of like Brian's evil brother.
Brian from our podcast.
Brian's really like that's the dark side of Brian. That's the like when Brian finally like his optimistic view of the world finally crashes down on him.
When he's
that's
had
what
enough.
he turns into. Yeah, that's it.
I got to tell you, I agree with this person 100%. Let me tell you, when I was in the Boy Scouts, I was a troop of myself, and I enjoyed going out there in the wilderness and doing, archery by myself and trust falls by myself. Where I was
you won every like Matchbox Derby race ever.
I did. Yep. I'd take my car and I raced it right down, and I was always the winner. So I expect that same kind of singular experience in a role-playing scout situation in an online
multiplayer game.
In an online multiplayer game.
Oh my God.
So I had an experience trying to get this badge, where I would see people passing by Grafton Dam, and they were jumping off and killing themselves, and then people were running down and trying to heal them, because in the course of that you get the revive a teammate in water, which was one of the challenges I think for the swimmer badge that you can get. So I was trying that, and like I would find somebody and I would do the little follow me like emote and then jump in the water and die. And then they would just see me from on top of the dam, and they would just look down like, what the hell's what? And they would
Does
just
he want me to
off.
jump off of this and die also? That sounds like a terrible idea.
So after 3 rounds of that, I messaged my good friend Jeremy, and I was like, oh hey, can we just like I'll kill you, you kill me, we revive each other, like we have a good time. And he was like, oh yeah, we're doing that right now. So I get on, and then everybody is at Waverly Willards, which is the water park in the game, and everyone's in the kiddie pool. And it's like a baptism is occurring.
That's awesome.
Where people are downed, and then in my head, I'm pretty sure somebody was wearing the preacher outfit and was coming over and reviving them, and it was like, ah yes, in order to get to the Tadpole Scouts, you must be baptized in the radiated water of the kiddie pool at Waverly Willards.
It's like a BioShock Infinite moment.
Yeah.
Is it someone new?
Right.
That sounds amazing. You're reborn to the new life of the wasteland.
That was my final challenge for everything, and then I got my backpack. So I'm happy to be drowned in a pool of irradiated water as long as at the end of the day I get a JanSport.
Totally worth it.
Yeah. One strap it, because if you double strap it, you look dumb.
That's right.
Was that the cool thing in your high school? Because it was in mine too. Was that everywhere?
Well, yeah, and then it's funny because when I watched what was it, 21 Jump Street, that was one of the jokes at the beginning. It was like, dude, you gotta single strap it. And he's like, no, I want to double strap it. And then it turns out things have changed, and everybody double straps it, and that's the cool thing.
Well, it makes more sense. It works. It doesn't mess up your back.
Ergonomic.
I know, right? Oh man. Well, I get the frustration of like not having friends, but really this sounds like I don't have friends and nobody should have friends kind of post.
Yeah, I mean, understandably, there are people that I started this game with that either stopped playing until Wastelanders or moved on to other games. But again, I've been saying this for a while now. Even though this game can be played solo, there are parts of this game that you cannot do solo, and you're missing the opportunity to really enjoy running with people and making friends. And it doesn't have to be an awkward, scary thing. Even if you struggle with social anxiety, there are lots of groups out there that cater to that and keep that in mind. And even if you just kind of lurk in a Discord or just kind of follow people along before you get comfortable talking, and just take an opportunity to reach out and find people to go with.
And if you want to, I guarantee you that if you put on a mic and you go up to somebody's camp, even if they don't have a mic, and you're like, hey man, can you please kill me in water so that I get this badge? They're going to be like, yeah, sure. They're going to give you the little thumbs up, even if they don't have the mic.
Yeah,
and then you're going to get the badge.
Yeah,
and
it's like a 90% chance you'll find somebody who's just like, okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then that's the spark of a friendship. And then you're friends. And then you get married.
Is that how that works?
Yep.
Help revive me in water. Now we're friends. Let's get married.
Well, they have like foot washing, at weddings. So body washing with a syringe.
What an awkward note to end the show on.
That's why I'm here.
So if you're looking for a lifelong partner, then
get out your finest foot bath and head on down to Appalachia.
Right. All right. Do it in game in order to avoid any real life viruses. Don't go washing people's feet right now. That's probably not a good idea. Social distancing. In-game closetivity. In-game closetivity. All right. Well, thank you to Vex, our guest, for this episode, and to you guys for joining me as usual and bringing such fun content. And I guess we're just hanging out in here in the vault indefinitely.
Yeah. Now that Vex is gone, I have to reseal hermetically the door. We need to figure out a way to keep people from getting in here.
Yeah. I'm totally washing my hands like 3 times. Even though I didn't touch anything.
We're going to have to set up workstations because I know I've still got to do my job. What my job is, annoying everyone here.
Tim Kaine has AOL dial-up down here, so if you turn it on now, by next week you should be able to,
I wonder
online.
if my ICQ username is still active.
Oh, this is running Windows 95. Let's play around with desktop themes. I like the mystery one.
Oh man, does it have like the screensaver with the tubes that just go all over randomly on the screen?
Yeah, we've got snakes. We also have the space station one. That was fun.
Yeah, good times. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in again. And if you have a Windows 95, boot it up and check out some of those awesome old screensavers. Thanks for tuning in.
Stay safe and stay healthy. On a very serious and lovely note.
Yeah.
And then next time you hear us, it will be Wastelanders.
Wastelanders. In order to wrap this up, is there anything that we want to tell them about Wastelanders or grouping up with us in order to do cool stuff in the game?
We probably should, but we can also tease, without giving specifics, we can let them know that we'll be making an announcement the week before Wastelanders drops. So pay attention to the podcast feed because we'll have a big announcement for a Wastelanders launch event we'll be doing.
Yep. So tune into the Robots Radio Discord or the, what's the name of yours again? It starts with an A.
What I've been doing is anybody who wants shows I've been sending to the Robots Discord. If people are looking on all consoles groups to play with, then I've been sending them over to the Aristocracy.
Got it.
I'm active in both of those as well. I'm probably a little more active in the Aristocracy. Just it gets a little wild in there sometimes. Just know
it does.
So tune into either of the Discords. There'll be links for those, and then also check the Twitter. At any of our regular notification methods, we'll be sending out stuff. So I know I'm going to jump in. So I think I'll start a new character. So it might be fun to have like a group of people all running around with new characters. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, a bunch of us in the Aristocracy are going to start completely over again from scratch.
I dig it.
Sounds like a good time. All right. We'll talk to you guys next time on the Fallout Hub. See you guys later.